Okay, I've decided to redo this video. This computer is hot. It's burning my leg. Okay. I was in the hospital recently uh, for epilepsy and depression. I went to a seminar for the cognitive and social effects of epilepsy. And epilepsy isn't exactly the funnest disease. I got to talk to a lot of doctors, the bigwigs of neurology, and oddly enough, the big cause of epilepsy a lot of the time can be suicide. Not everyone. I want to stress that, not everyone. But counseling is a good idea because depending on, like, if you've had it all your life, you probably know how to deal with it better. But if you get it at like a full blown, it like I did later in your life, it can be life altering. And sometimes I get a little down and I have to go in the hospital and get everything all checked because sometimes the depression can be medication related. It's not your fault because the medications are like antidepressants times 10. Anyway, I was in there and I wanted to talk about seizure dogs and wards like psychiatric wards and um, ICU. I forgot what it was called. And of course I can't keep the dog in the hospital all the time because if you're on like the 8th floor, there's nowhere for him to pee. Except for once when I was at a mall and there was a fake jungle, he peed in it. I kind of laughed at this later, but I was like, oh my god, no. So, like, I kind of steer clear of fake plants and shrubbery in indoor places, because he has done that before. Peed on fake stuff. Anyway, I had a stress ball, and I was tossing it in the air, and Jake was just sitting there catching it. No noise was made. No one was being bothered. And this crazy nurse that was acting like this bitch that needed to get laid, or she needed something. She had PMS. I don't know. Just like flips out and takes the ball away from the dog, and the dog was just sitting there looking sad, and I was like, and then I talked to another nurse and I said, look, I wasn't making any noise, and there's a guy down the hall that throws a ball all over the room. What's with that? And so they did return the ball, but they said you can't throw it to your dog anymore. I'm like, I'm in a private room. And they were just on top of the dog all the time, bossing him here to there to everywhere, and I honestly just don't think these people were aware of the laws. Just like anywhere you go, you'd want to, if people aren't granting you access, sometimes this happens in foreign restaurants because I don't know, they're new to the United States, but like, I carry cards that, state the law, and it was just, as frustrating as it was, I just tried to educate these people and make them aware of the laws. Because, he's a part of me, and, I try and I just tried to make them aware of the laws, and now I was glad to go home though, because it's a frustrating experience. I think the dog was glad I went home too. I don't think he liked those people. But anyway, overall, oh, and ICU can be a whole lot different because dogs carry MRSA, and it's not about you, it's about the other patients. And ICU can be very, very picky, and depending on what you're up there for, they may not grant the dog access at all, or like when I've been up there for video EEGs, they've let him up there, but sometimes when I've been up there for post-op or where's the phone stuff ringing? When I've been up there for post-op or any other sort of actual illness, they haven't, they've been picky about the dog coming. And I haven't really argued with ICU about that because it is in fact ICU. And you know, it's pretty much like that just about everywhere with ICU unless you're having a video EEG. So, like, but in a way that kind of doesn't make sense to me because if I was having like a EEG, electroencephalogram is what EEG stands for. As opposed to something else. I don't see why, because I'm around the dog all the time. I'm gonna be around him when he goes home. I don't understand why he couldn't come up, but then they're like, oh, the other patients, but sometimes it depends on what hospital you're in. But I'm usually in Columbus, Ohio, and different hospitals have different rules. So really just ask and see what's going on. But keep in mind, when you're in ICU, animals can catch what people have. If anybody has any comments, questions, feel free to leave them.